Really good. Grateful for I'm grateful the weather has gotten warmer. I wasn't expecting it to be like in the upper 80s in the middle of May, but you know what? It is what it is.
Yeah, well, and if I disappear from this meeting, it'll be because we've lost power or the internet.
Mm,
We're under a severe storm warning right now, and it is raining, so I'm glad to be here, but if I disappear, it's not nothing against you.
yes, no worries. I will be sending out a replay, so
Oh,
I
good,
think
good.
so that will be fine. We will miss you, but I will not take it personally.
Hopefully it won't happen.
Right? Yeah. Oh, Lordy. Okay. I think there's at least I just admitted one more person. So let's see. Stacy. Good morning, Stacy.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great. And yourself?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Good, good.
I
All
have a
right.
I have a hard stop at noon for another Zoom, so I didn't know if you had planned it for more than an hour. So I just
No,
wanted to
actually,
let you know if I jump off, that's why.
I have a hard stop as well. So
Okay,
no.
good.
So yeah, no worries. You're not gonna we're not gonna be going over today. So all right. Well, I don't know if other people are gonna be joining us, but let's just, kind of get into the flow with just a couple of ice-breaking questions. So, oh, you know what? Before, let me actually remember to record this because sometimes this computer, there we go. All right, there we go. So just, we can, for now, we can stay off unmuted because it's just, the three of us. So, but how many networking events or coffee chat calls are you showing up to in a given week? A guess is
One or
good.
two?
One or two. Okay,
Yeah.
there we go. Ruth,
Networking
how about you?
calls, what?
So either a call, like a coffee chat call, like where you're
Oh, right,
just having
right.
a conversation with someone, finding out about their business, like what they're all about, or actually attending like a networking event.
Oh gosh, I attend a lot of networkings. I probably attend too much.
Well,
Um,
so
but
in a given month, how many networking events are you going to?
probably, let me see there. Let me see. One, two, three, four. And then we meet is five, and Jamie is six.
Okay, so
I'd say at least six a week.
six. Okay, I got it. Great. So we're with Stacy, who's got like a couple every week, and Ruth, who's got, a month of networking mapped out for herself. So perfect. All right. So now the next question. On a scale of 1 to 5, how often does someone follow up with you after you've either had the coffee chat or you've been in the networking and you've been able to give your pitch? One being never, that's never ever happened to me. And five being like, yeah, people reach out to me all the time.
Occasionally someone reaches out, but mostly it just falls to the wayside, and I can't say
Yeah.
that I'm
Yep.
changing that this year though.
I'm in the same boat, Stacy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now obviously, Susan, you're the exception. I heard back from you after we had a coffee chat.
Yes.
But you're really about the only one.
Okay. Perfect. All right. Not perfect because it means you're not getting leads, but perfect. This is a great place to start the conversation, right? So, all right. It's clear that both of you are putting in the time. You're making the effort to go to the networking events, to have the coffee chats, but the follow ups aren't happening. Here's the thing, none of us, well, probably none of us on this call got into our business because we love talking about ourselves, right? That was not the calling that we had. We got into it because we're like, you know what? I got the skill, I got the zone of genius. Like, I know I can help people. I can make people's lives better. But somewhere along the way, between, oh my gosh, I can do this, and now we were told, yeah, you got to network. That's the only way to get, or that's like one of the best ways to get clients. You got to network. In order to have a network, you have to have a pitch. All right. So then in comes the infamous I help statement, right? I help this type of person do this type of thing so they can get to this desired outcome, right? And then what happens? We don't get the follow ups, right? We're not getting the book calls. Maybe we're just getting some polite nods and some general radio silence. And the part that gets me is that when we get those nods and the polite, even maybe sometimes, oh, that's so interesting. We're thinking, oh my gosh, like they get it. They're going to reach out. They totally understand what I'm doing. Like this is great. We totally think that what we're saying is landing. But here's the little known insight. The nod and the smile is not, oh, I want to work with you. The nod and the smile is, I got it. I hear it. I get what you do. That's it, right? There is no additional engagement at that point. But this is what I know. It's what I know to be possible. The last two people who booked with me did so because someone referred them. I was not in the room. I was not on the chat. I was not anywhere, in the vicinity when someone said to them, you really need to reach out to Susan. So the key here is that someone, though a couple of someones, remembered enough about what I did that when they heard the problem that I solved, they thought this other person needs to reach out to Susan. She's going to be able to help them. But that only happens when your pitch gives something specific for people to hold on to, not just not along at, right? Okay, so next question for you. On a scale of 1 to 5, being my pitch is not sticking with anyone, and 5 being, people totally get what I do and they refer me. Where are you right now?
I think I'm still at a 1.
Okay.
I mean, we talked the other day and I'm working on it.
Yeah.
But I still think I'm on a 1.
Okay. Similar, Stacy, 1 or a 2?
So I think I would say 2.5, like right in the middle.
Perfect. Okay.
Like a 50-50.
50-50.
People either get it, but what I notice is it's people in my industry get it and they'll refer me business. People who brand new or my actual direct hopeful client or potential client, it's hit or miss.
It's hit or miss. Yes, yes. And that is actually a really good point. A lot of people think, oh yeah, I am getting referrals, but they're getting referrals from people who already know you, like from past clients, people you have interacted with in the industry. And what we want to get you to is a pitch that gets people who have never met you leaning in to ask more questions, right? Because that's how you know what you're saying is really landing. So the 1 from Ruth, the 2.5 from Stacy, that's exactly why we're here. And here's the thing, this is what I know at the core of my being, your people are in the rooms you are networking in, right? Too often we think, oh, well, maybe our people aren't there. Maybe I need to be in more rooms, right? They are there. They just are not hearing the thing that they are waiting to hear, right? They're just not seeing themselves in what you're talking about. So what we're going to cover today is why most pitches get only polite nods instead of follow-ups, instead of the DMs, the registrations, the booked calls. I'm going to give you a framework that will help you to start structuring your pitch so that it actually starts getting leads. We're going to review some good examples, some less good examples of pitches, and then you're going to have an opportunity to try it yourself. So that by the time we get done, you'll know exactly what needs to change in how you are talking about what you do. And stay tuned at the end. I will get to it before the end of the hour, Stacy, because I do have a special offer for all of you today at the end of today's session. So, but if we have not met, Ruth, you and I have met. Stacy, this is the first time we are meeting. My name and Dr. Love, you joined at the perfect time because I'm just getting around to introducing myself to those people who have not previously met me. My name is Susan Pratt. Coaches and entrepreneurs come to me when they're doing all the things, the posting, the email, showing up on Reels, and none of it is moving people to reach out, book calls, or sign up for workshops. I spent 10 years writing copy for my local Girl Scout Council. I was part of the team that supported girls and volunteers in the cookie program. And my job was to write about the cookie program, talk about it, promote it in a way that allowed adults to see it as more than just a fundraiser and that it was an actual character building program while the girls still were having a whole lot of fun doing it. So let's be honest. On the surface, the cookie program looks like a bunch of girls cute little girls in uniform selling cookies, right? But my job was to show that it was so much more. The little girl going door to door wasn't just raising money and she wasn't just selling cookies. She was she was learning how to look someone in the eye and make an ask. She was experiencing being told no and going and ringing the next doorbell anyway. And she was learning that she was part of a team, her troop, while they were working towards a common goal. So I wasn't just writing about cookies, I was writing about what cookies do for Girl Scouts. And that is what I am doing now, is helping people talk about what they do, because you are not just pitching your services, you are helping the right person recognize that what you do is exactly what they need. So who's ready to get into it? I'm thinking you guys are ready for the content now. All right, I'm gonna share my screen and I'm hoping for the best on this. Okay. Sometimes this works better than other times. All right, hang on just one moment here. All right, I'm hoping you all can see my screen now. Yes?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. All right. All right. So we're actually going to start over here on slide 2. All right. So I had a voice note exchange with someone from We Meet a couple weeks back, and she was talking to me about how she had been in a recent networking breakout room within We Meet. And she was so disheartened because everybody who pitched in her particular room was reading from a script. She said the minute that their time came up, she watched their eyes switched over to a different screen, or they started looking down at a piece of paper and they just read it all the way through. There was no trying to figure out who was in the room. There was no building any kind of connection. It was just reading the piece of paper and then saying to the next person, "Hey, it's your turn." And her comment was, they were just putting their stuff into AI. AI was generating a script for them, and then they were just reading it. So here's the thing: AI is a phenomenal tool, right? It's great for helping you get unstuck, maybe for finding different topics to talk about or different ways to talk about what you do. But at the end of the day, AI output is meant to be read, not spoken. And a pitch is not a document. It is something that you speak, and it's actually like a conversation. It's the beginning of a conversation. Think about when you talk to a friend, right? Nobody is sitting down with a friend in the coffee shop, pulling out their phone to pull up their notes about what am I going to say to my friend. No, you pick a topic, you pick whatever you're going to talk about. You probably start off, how are you? How's it going? How's work? And then the conversation just builds from there, right? That's what a pitch needs to feel like you're just having a conversation with your audience. And just like I was saying with a friend, the conversation is back and forth. That's the whole job of a pitch, is to start the conversation, not to explain everything. You just need to say enough to get the person listening or the people listening to think, wait a second, I want to know more about that. Tell me more, right? You need something that is going to grab their attention and makes them want to hear what comes next. Unfortunately, most pitches are actually doing the opposite, right? So when you lead with what you do, and we have all heard a version of this before, I help entrepreneurs grow and scale their businesses to 10K months, right? I feel like that should be a meme at this point. You're giving them information, which on the surface looks good, but you're not giving them an opportunity to recognize themselves. And that's what they are listening for. They're listening for, is she talking about me? Does this sound like the problem I have? Do I think she can help me? And if they can't see themselves, they mentally move on. Yes, they will give you the nod and the smile, but they're acknowledging that you've spoken. They're not saying, tell me more. But when you lead with the problem they're experiencing right now, not your solution, that's the first moment where they will start thinking, wait, she's talking about me. Like that is actually the problem that I have every single time I sit down to write content, every single time I try and get out the door with my 2 kids, every single time I get home from work. And when you can describe that moment, that's when she starts leaning in. So they're not listening to understand you, right? Because I think if we go back to the very generic one, I help entrepreneurs scale to 10K months. We understand those words, right? That person's going to help you with strategies, with techniques, with something to help you get to 10K months. But for most people, that is not enough to be like, oh yeah, that's totally me. So imagine you're at a cocktail party, right? And you find yourself cornered by that person who is talking the loudest and the most. And you're thinking to yourself, oh my God, I have no interest in what he's talking about. Maybe he's talking about, an ancient war. Maybe he's talking about his highly scientific work. It doesn't make a difference. Whatever it is, you're like, oh my God, get me out of here. And you're busy like trying to like make eye contact with pretty much anyone else in the room, someone to come and rescue you. Believe it or not, that is your brain is reacting the exact same way when it's just getting a load of information dumped on it during a pitch, right? So yes, maybe you're not like looking to get out of the room, although that's usually what the nod and smile is like, okay, let's move on. But when you're getting flooded with that information and you can't see how it applies to you, why are you going to ask any questions? There's nothing to ask. None of this feels relevant. So that's the thing about the pitch. It was never intended to be the whole conversation. It's just intended to be enough to get them to lean in and say, yeah, I definitely want to know more about that. And then the conversation builds from there. Not usually in the moment, but in the DMs or when they book a solution call or a clarity call with you, or when they register for your workshop, right? That's where you get to have more of the conversation. The goal is to have them thinking, she's talking about me, not, sounds interesting, good to know. So I want to introduce you to what I call the ICU framework. This is the framework I've come up with to help people think about how to structure their pitch, right? So there are 3 parts: the something you know, the something you say, and the something you name. So what you need to know, and I know you guys know this, is you need to know the problem you solve. But I'm going to challenge you to know it in the way your clients experience it, not the way you diagnose it, right? Most coaches, because they are so good at what they do, they talk about the problem as a diagnosis. I help overwhelmed moms. I help high achieving women who are burned out. I help business owners gain clarity. These are all labels, and labels are not what the human brain latches onto. What the human brain latches onto is scenes, right? When you can paint the scene of what's going on, that's what's going to get them being like, oh, wait a second, I get it. I get what she does. So the next part is exactly what I was talking about, painting that scene. Show the moment right before they find you, right? So instead of I help moms who are overwhelmed with all the things that they have on their plate, it's are you a mom who every morning has 10 minutes to get out the door, is crunching Cheerios underneath your feet, carrying a baby on your hip, and trying to cajole your toddler into their boots? This is what I help with, right? So you see, those are 2 very different scenarios. One is moms who are overwhelmed, which could really be anything, and the other one is very specific: moms with little kids who every day is a mix of chaos and hurry, right? So yes, the woman in the second scenario is overwhelmed. But do you see how you didn't have to say overwhelmed to paint that picture? By the time I got to the point with the toddler trying to, cajole her into her shoes, I think all of us were thinking, oh, God, that woman truly is overwhelmed, right? That sounds like an awful lot. So you didn't actually have to use the word. So you didn't have to diagnose it. You simply just needed to paint the picture. And the more specific the moment, the faster they're going to recognize themselves. Okay. And then we get to name it, which is actually the easiest part of the entire pitch. I can help with that, is one version, or this is what I work with my clients on to solve, right? Either one of those works. And then you simply stop, because this is not where you need to list the modules, how long the coaching container is, the number of calls, no describing of the process. You've painted a picture. She recognizes herself in that, and you've told her that you can help. That is what a pitch needs to do, because now she's thinking, oh my God, that is actually my day. I've tried for 4 years to try and get out of this. I cannot. I'm gonna give Stacy a call. I'm gonna book a call with Dr. Love. Ruth is my lady. Whatever it is they're thinking, right? So what I want you to do here, so we're gonna take a moment. I want you to grab a pen or open up a notes app or type it on your computer, whatever you want to do, and think about your ideal client. This is what this is what I want you to think of. She's live streaming her day, right? She's recording everything that's going on, and you are watching the live stream, right? What is she doing, or what is she not doing, that when you see it, I can help her. This is my person. I know what to do here, right? But you're watching her. You're simply watching what's going on. Jot down the actual things that are happening in the moment. What time of day is it? Is there something else happening at the same time? What is her reaction? So I'm going to give you about a minute to jot some ideas down. Okay, admittedly, I forgot to start a timer. Does anyone need any more time? Or does everyone have something written down? Feeling good on that? Okay. So what you just wrote down, that's the insight. That's the moment. That's what we need to incorporate into your pitch. The hard part for most of us is taking what we know to be the problem, to take this insight and find the words and the phrases that are going to get people to stop and think, oh my God, that's exactly what I'm dealing with. And this is exactly the type of work we do inside my membership community, which I call Words That Land Studio. It's not just identifying the moment, which you all probably just did. It's also finding the way to make that moment come alive so that your ideal client is thinking, that is me. She gets it. Okay. So now we're going to come back to this. So now let's move on to putting this into action, right? So we've got the framework and we're moving on. We have all heard some version of this before, right? And if we haven't delivered something like this ourselves, we have heard somebody else deliver this. And it's clear in this particular instance that Sally Platt has very clearly stated what she does, right? It sounds clear. We get it. She is a bookkeeper and helps small businesses with tax strategy. So why wouldn't her ideal client recognize herself? I'm going to put that question out to you. Anyone have any ideas as to why this is not something that perhaps this is not something that's going to get people to raise their hand?
It's all about her.
Yes, good. Number one, all about her. Anything else?
I smile because it's not the tax strategy, but bookkeeping is what I do. So I thought that was kind of funny. But there's no urgency. There's no compelling reason.
Right.
I know I got to do that. I'll do it later.
I'll do it later, right? There's nothing in here that makes me think, oh my gosh, like I need to take care of this right now. I need to book that call with Stacy, right? So the other thing both of those things are happening. The other thing that's going on is the person that Sally helps has already disqualified herself. She doesn't think of herself as a small business owner who needs bookkeeping services. She thinks of herself as someone who has trouble keeping track of her receipts, wouldn't know how to read a profit and loss statement if her entire business depended on it, and has no clue as to whether or not she's actually making any money because she just doesn't understand how to read the reports. So the label of small business owner is not one she identifies with. She is already thinking, oh, that's not for me. I'm not a small business owner. And so since it doesn't match how she sees her own situation, she opts out before she even finishes listening to the pitch. And that is why recognition requires description, not information. Just giving people a lot of information is not enough to get them to be like, oh yeah, sign me up. So look at what you wrote down earlier, right? Just take a quick glance at what you wrote down about the live stream moment. And then think about how you normally introduce yourself or talk about your business. Does any of what you captured in the live stream moment show up in your pitch?
Mm-hmm.
Yes? Okay, great. Yes. Maybe from Stacy? No from Dr. Love? Okay. So this gap, right, between the live stream moment and you talking about what you do, that's exactly what we need to fix with the pitch to get people to start leaning in. So let me show you what this looks like, right? I'm not going to read it. I know you guys can. But this is the same person, the same offer, and the same call to action. It's just a completely different experience for the person listening. So Ruth, I think you'll get this. You're probably in some warmer, more casual networking situations, as well as some more structured ones, right?
Yes.
Really, the only thing that is different is how you get them into what it is you do, what problem it is you solve, right? So in We Meet, maybe you're not starting with your name because that part already appears underneath your picture. But obviously, if you're standing in a BNI room or a Chamber of Commerce mixer, you're probably going to have to identify yourself because, people can't read your name all, on the sticker, right? But it's the same. It's the same. You get to the exact same place, and you don't spend a lot of time in the more structured room, going over like I help. Nope, you go right into the problem you solve, right? So in this case, running every aspect of the business by themselves, right? And it's costing them. You've now explained exactly what the problem is, right? They're running it by themselves, and this is actually costing them money. And they're making decisions based on a gut feeling, not on actual numbers. So, and then here's that name it. That's the part we fix. And then you tell them how to get a hold of you, right? That's it. There you go. You've introduced yourself. You've named the problem. You've indicated you can help, and then how to get a hold of you. It works the same way in the more casual or conversational networking situations like We Meet, right? You can just drop right into what the situation is, throwing receipts into a shoebox, praying that your CPA is a miracle worker, and really having no idea what your tax bill is going to look like. And then You can introduce yourself right here because you've already gotten people listening. You've named the exact problem that they're having. They're already listening. And now you can say, yep, this is what I do. And this is what I help with, right? So here's the name it again. This is exactly what I help with. And then whatever it is you want them to do, book a call, whatever it is. How is this landing for you?
I like
Can
this
you,
a
oh,
lot. No, I like it a lot. Yeah, this makes a lot of sense.
yeah. Because in either one of these versions, the person who needs Sally the most is thinking, that's me, instead of thinking, oh, like once I get everything all organized, I'll be ready for Stacy, right? Because she's not realizing that Stacy can help her get to that organized state. She's thinking she's got to be organized before Stacy can even help, right? Because that's what bookkeeping services sounds like. So when you start with what she's actually experiencing, whether it's either one of these, gut business decisions based on gut feeling or throwing receipts into a shoebox, either way, you're capturing probably exactly what she's doing. So I get it. Doing this for your own pitch is challenging. And it's challenging not because you guys don't know what you're doing, not because you don't have the words. It's because, like all of us, we're so close to the work that we do. You know exactly what you mean when you're saying it. But it's hard to know how other people are hearing it, right? You've got, so many years of experience and a level of expertise. It totally sounds right to you. But the people that you're talking to, they don't, most of the time, do not have the same level of experience or the same context as you do. So getting real feedback on your actual words from someone who can see the blind spots, see what you can't because you're so close to it, that is what actually makes the difference between posts that get a lot of responses and posts that get one or two, get a handful of likes and oh, thanks for sharing comment, which I hate when I get those. Like I'm grateful that somebody like stopped and noticed. And I'm like, oh, right, really? That's all you had to say? So that's, again, this is why I created my membership, because this is it's an opportunity for people to for members to bring in exactly what they're working on and get some immediate feedback. And then you can go ahead and implement it. It's really the second set of eyes, a different perspective that's so hard to get when you are building on your own. Okay, so now let's go. We're gonna do some practicing here. We're gonna go back to what you wrote down, that live stream moment, and we're gonna incorporate it into the ICU framework. So, does anyone want to volunteer? Otherwise, I can just pick someone. All right. Well, I'm going to pick Dr. Love. Are you willing to come off mute and and give a go at this?
Sure.
Okay, fantastic.
Okay. So just go ahead.
Yeah, well, let's start with what did you write down, and then
Sure.
about the live stream moment, and then you can tell me how you normally talk about what you do in a networking or coffee chat situation.
So I wrote, forgive me, that they are thinking about, this is my child, that every time I start speaking, they pop up. So I wrote that they're sitting around thinking about their college student and how they want them to do well in college. They might be worried about them being in college and all of the things that they wanted to tell them, but didn't know to tell them.
Yep.
She drops her child off to college, and the child still doesn't know their major and is undecided. She's sitting at work and thinking, I really want my child to do well, and not just in academics. I want them to do well in college and in life. So that's what I wrote down.
Okay. Okay. Now, give me how you normally, in a networking situation, you say, hi, my name is Dr. Love. What comes next?
My name is Dr. Love, and I do college student success. I'm a college student success strategist, and I help with things outside of the classroom, right? Because it's great to get accepted into college, but you want to graduate and you want to actually be doing something after you graduate, right? You want a job, you want success, you want this life that you envision for yourself, and you want a life you envision for your child to be a great life. How do you get there? So I help students try to get there.
Okay. So I have a couple of questions.
Yep.
So this is clearly geared towards the parent, right? Because the kid at 18 thinks I got this. I got this nailed.
Thank you. I don't market to the 18-year-old. They got it in their head.
I got it. I know everything I need to know. Just drop me off. I'll be good, right? So, but you're right. Yes, the parent is coming from a very, very different perspective. So, where we are here is yes, at the kind of 30,000 foot level, parents want their kids to succeed. But what I heard you say from the live stream moment is the worry that they haven't done enough, right? That somehow, and what's really underrunning that likely is worry that I didn't do it. What does that say about me that I didn't? Right? What does it say about me that I did not prepare them? That I didn't prepare them for every single situation they might find themselves in, right? I think the flip to that could also be you think you prepared them, but then, you know, at the midterm point, you find out that they're failing calculus. And you're like, what? And they're like, well, yeah, like I just didn't do well on the test. And the follow-up question is, well, did you go to see the professor or the TA? No, right? And you're thinking,
Or that they're not failing, but they have an issue with their roommate and they don't want to go back.
there you go. That's actually the far better one, right? Because, you know, most kids can figure out how to go get extra help, we hope. But this is a much more challenging one, right? So this is the type of thing that you need to bring in. Hi, my name is Dr. Love. I'm a college student success coach. Parents come to me when their children are in school but are struggling with the non-academic things that come up every time. Challenging roommates, or roommates that, you know, a roommate that they can't live with, that they feel they can't live with. Dining hall hours that don't meet their study schedule. Whatever these things are, you can come up with a couple of them. And then this is something I can help with. That's it. I'm offering calls or whatever it is you offer to kind of bring people into your world. But do you see how naming these things that they are worried about, that you came up with that one really quickly, so you clearly know, like it's no doubt that you actually have a really good understanding as to the types of problems that parents don't think about until they actually happen. When you start talking about that, then the parents in the room are gonna be like, oh, holy crow. Like I was thinking about the shopping list. Like I like, it didn't even occur to me that they might not get along with their roommates. It didn't even occur to me that the dining hall isn't going to be open at the hours that they're able to go and eat, or that they would have food that they would like to eat, right? So when you name those things, the types of things you help with, that's when you get people leaning in. Because when you first started, I was like college student success. Oh, okay. So she helps kids get into college. She helps kids achieve academically in college. That was the first thing I thought of. Ruth or Stacy, did you guys think the same thing?
Yes.
And yeah,
Yeah.
like a performance coach is more of what I was thinking.
Like a performance coach, right?
Yeah.
And clearly you do something that's actually, truthfully, far more interesting.
Something that, you know, they do it on college campuses. It's like study skills and success strategy. All that stuff is there. What nobody teaches you is about how to get along with your roommate. They don't teach you about, okay, you're an undecided major. They just want you to pick one. But why am I picking one at 18 for the rest of my life instead of you asking me how I want to change the freaking world? Ask me something like that. Like those are the things that students need to know. So yeah, I'm sorry. I'm a little bit frustrated with our educational system.
I get it. And I suspect you have a whole arsenal of those situations that you have helped with. That's what belongs in the pitch, right? So, but I love the fact that you didn't start with I help, right? That's actually that's like the low hanging fruit, right? You know, my name is Dr. Love. I am a college student success coach. I help parents with the things, or I help parents. parents come to me, or I work with parents to help them prepare their kids to be successful in college when they encounter the non-academic challenges that pop up every year, such as, right? And give a couple of those. Because the minute you say non-academic and now you give some examples, people are thinking, oh, wait, what? Like, how do I do that? Right? How do I help prepare my student for that? How, when they're in the middle of this crisis, how do I help them? How do I support them? How do I tell them where to go? Right? Okay. All right. Ruth or Stacy, would either one of you like to give this a go?
I'll be happy to.
Okay.
My ideal client is a person who considers her animals as part of her family, and suddenly the animal gets sick and they get very stressed. You know, tomorrow's the last day of school, and I'm supposed to go take cupcakes to school today and go to the school play. And my husband's out of town, and I just don't know what to do about this. And I really can't afford a visit to the emergency vet right now because that's between $500 and $1,500. And you know, I just wish I knew there was something I could do at home. I feel really inadequate about taking care of my animals at home. All I know to do is take them to the vet. So that's my ideal client. And so I guess, you know, I would start my pitch in a way that says something like, you know, have you ever been jarred awake at 2:30 in the morning because suddenly your animal is sick and you don't know what to do? And so, based on what you just told Dr. Love, I loved it because I was trying to think of my second sentence rather than saying I help. What I've changed it to while you've been talking is owners come to me when they don't know how to care for their animals at home. Their animals' health, I guess, because they might, yeah, it needs to be more specific.
Um, yeah, I was just making some notes, how to care for the animals at home. Okay. I love it. I love the fact that we got away from I help. Yay.
Yeah,
So my question for you would be, I loved what you wrote down about the live stream because I think anyone who actually has had a pet has had that happen, right? Where they're throwing up in the middle of the night, or all of a sudden they can't get up off the couch. You know, something out of the normal happens. And you're right. The thought is, I don't have time for this. Either it's 2 in the morning, and like I've got kids here. I can't take the dog to the vet right now, and I've got a jam-packed day tomorrow. So I think what we need to do here, though, so those details are great, is bridge this part about not knowing how to care for them. Because I think most of us are like, oh yeah, I know how to care for my pet. Like I feed her and I give her pets
yeah,
and
yeah.
like I give her heartworm medicine. Like, yeah, I'm good with that. But it's don't know how to care for them when an emergency strikes.
Okay.
I think that's the piece that's missing here.
Okay. They come to me when they don't know what to do.
Well, I think what you actually want them to do is come to you ahead of time, right? It's a
Yeah.
little bit, it's all, you know what I would encourage you to play with this is a little bit like why you take CPR ahead of time, right? You're not going to
Right,
be able to
right.
like figure out CPR. Well, yes, sometimes being coached by an emergency dispatch person, you can, but you're not going to figure out CPR in the moment. But it's that exact same thing is to be prepared for the inevitable, to be prepared when your pet gets sick, and getting to the vet is not an easy, is not possible. I would just leave it at that. This is what I help. This is what I work with pet parents on. Because I think you are absolutely right. There are many, many, many people whose fur babies are either just like their children or they are their children. They don't
Right.
have other children in the home, and they want to care for them to the absolute best of their ability. I love it, Dr. Love. Is that your cat? Yes. See, there you go. Dr. Love's
Oh, I
kitty is
can't
making
see it.
sense. So, oh, so pretty. Right? But Dr. Love, let me ask you then, because you could actually be Ruth's ideal client. Is is that something at the point in which she's talking about being prepared for an emergency? Did your ears perk up?
Yeah, so when you said that, I wrote in the chat, it's like paying for insurance, right? I don't want to get into an accident, but I'm going to pay for insurance just in case because I know accidents happen, right? So I would pay for a service that would help me to one, keep him out of accidents, right? But if it happens, then I know I have somebody to call. And I used to have an insurance like that. And then they dropped the part where they had the vet connected
Oh.
with the insurance.
Mm-hmm.
And I hated it. I was like, okay, I'm going to find a new insurance now. But that was like the reason I liked that insurance because I could call somebody and I didn't have to go in and I could just make a quick phone call and say, hey, this is what's going on with little buddy. Can you help me? So, yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Right?
Thank you. I have to think about that and how to phrase that.
But I love the analogy to insurance, right? None
Yeah,
of us are
yeah.
paying for insurance thinking, oh my gosh, I can't wait to use this policy. No, we are thinking, good Lord, we don't want to get stuck without it. We don't want to get stuck in a situation that we aren't prepared for either financially or in some other way. And so it's actually like a different type of insurance. It's just being forearmed, so to speak, for the things that happen. So yeah, I think that was great. Well, Dr. Love, Ruth, thank you so much for
Yeah,
sharing.
thank you. That
I
was
appreciate the back and forth on that one. So before we wrap up, what I'm going to put all of you on the spot. What was the biggest thing that landed for you today? Like, is there something that you're going to do differently the next time someone inevitably asks you, "Hey, Stacy, so what is it you do?"
Yeah, the examples. Like I help parents who, and then giving them examples because everybody thinks I'm an academic success coach. And I
Yeah.
don't do that. You have that on campus. I oversaw academic support services as a dean, right? So you have that already. I know that. But what I do know is nobody handles just the day-to-day stuff that comes up that students are sitting around thinking, well, they ask somebody else and they get the wrong information from
Yeah.
another college student inevitably and then handle it wrong, right?
Yes, exactly. They go to their friend, the friend who doesn't have a roommate problem. Like why they think the friend is going to know the answer, I don't know, but that's how 18 and 19-year-olds operate. So like I get that happens, right? Yeah. Yeah. Stacy, what was your takeaway?
I like the shift from because the I help, XYZ do ABC.
Mm,
It's so everybody sounds the same. And I like the shift to asking the question first, are you XY
yes.
with problems of ABC? I
Yeah.
help I like that shift. And looking like I have the typical I help, the typical format.
Right.
Was looking through some of my notes from a recent client meeting and I can pull right from their words in
Yes.
are you the only thing I struggle with all the time though is are you a solopreneur, are you an entrepreneur, are you a business owner? Because I've never figured out how the
You
people I
know
work
what?
with
This
identify
is,
themselves.
oh, go
You
ahead. I was gonna say the thing is just pick one because most people will just substitute in what they are. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You could even just go with, are you a business owner? That kind of encompasses all this because entrepreneurs own businesses, right? Small business owners know they have a business. And a
Right.
solopreneur also is like, yeah, I'm trying to run a business, right? So you could just
Yeah.
go with, are you a business owner who, right? And that will lead you into where you need
Susan,
to go.
I have a quick question. Does it even need to be that specific? Can I just say, are you someone who? Because
Someone,
then
yes,
everybody's a someone.
I like
yeah.
that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. What in your case, Dr. Love, what if you're a guardian? What if you're the
You're
aunt?
right. I
Right?
thought about that. Yes, yes.
What if you're the
Yeah.
grandma, right? Who all of a
Grandparent.
sudden, yes, what if you were pretty much anyone other than the genetic parent? Yeah, no, I agree. Are you someone? Someone works beautifully in this situation because you're right. Everyone's a someone. I love that. I love that. Ruth, what about you?
Oh, this whole thing has been golden. I think I wasn't painting a big enough picture. I was just saying something like, have you ever been awakened at 2:30 in the morning by, a sick animal? But I think I'm going to change it now to, something more like, have you ever had to make a trip to the emergency room with your pet or, paint more of a picture. And then I love that owners come to me when, and then I absolutely loved what Dr. Love said. Oh, that I love what Love said. Um, that it's like insurance. Yeah. And then you were just saying, start out with, are you someone who, and I can say, are you someone who considers your animals as family, and you maybe have some moments when you wish you could take better care of their health at home or something. I got to think about it, but yeah, the whole thing's
Or
been
even if
golden.
and or someone who knew what to do when like like when they get injured, when they get sick, like put it in there so you're not talking about like regular animal behavior, right? And the other thing
Yeah,
you want to make sure, the other reason to put that in there is you don't want people to start leading off thinking, oh, she is an animal trainer, right? Right?
yeah,
You don't want
yeah.
them to think, oh,
No,
like I'm going to help them figure out how to get the cat to pee in the litter box, right? It's
right.
really
Yeah,
something outside of the
right.
normal. So yeah, I love this. I love all this feedback. I'm so happy to hear that all of you walked away actually with something different in each case, which makes me even happier. So, one of the things before we wrap up, one of the things that we've come back to time and time again is that you want someone when they hear you to think, that is me, that is my kid, that is my pet. I want to be prepared. This is my situation, right? And that doesn't just need to happen in your pitch. This needs to happen everywhere where you are putting words to what you do. Social media posts, emails, a landing page, a workshop registration page. Every time you find yourself talking about your business. And we talked about it. When you're close, it's hard to find the words different than the ones that you've been using for so long. And you go to them time and time again. They're the ones that make sense. And that's exactly what the Words That Land Studio is for. It's almost like a one-to-one, but in a small group setting. You bring what you're working on, a post, an email, a pitch, script for a reel, and you get personal feedback in real time. Exactly what is missing, what you can tweak, you put it out there, see what works, right? And then you can implement immediately. You're not waiting. You're not thinking, oh, is this template going to work? Or I got this from Claude or ChatGPT, but like it doesn't quite sound exactly right. So when that happens, when you actually see your posts working, first of all, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, thank God I'm no longer posting into the void, right? When you start getting the booked calls, you're like, oh my gosh, yes, people are totally understanding what I do. And that is what helps you gain the momentum to continually talk about your business more consistently. And the more consistent you are, the more people will start to find you. So, yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to say. I did want to give I'm gonna stop sharing here. I wanted to give you the link in the chat to the Words That Land Studio. Hold on one moment, please. This happens to me all the time too, where I'm just like, oh shoot, where did that link go? All right, a second. One moment. While I'm looking for that link, does anyone have any final questions?
So this was
No?
good. This helped get clearer on how to set up the statement, because that's always feels awkward. I help so and so with.
Right. Yes. Sometimes it really is just changing like the on ramp, into your pitch. And I think that's really the most important thing is knowing what on ramp is going to work. Going to sound like a broken record type of thing that we work on in the Words That Land Studio. I apologize
I
because
was
most of
gonna,
the time I have this up and ready, and today I did not. So
I
just I'm
was gonna
almost there.
say a
Just
similar thing. I like the kind of examples, different, because I'm like, yeah, that works for me too. When I'm buying something, like, okay, that's what grabs me. Instead of you telling me what you do, it's like, oh, are you sitting there, and your cat all of a sudden is, r- so I've never owned a cat before. So I didn't understand my cat start to run around and do all kinds of stuff. I was like, what's wrong? Is there a mouse in the
Puppy.
house?
Zoomies.
And nobody told me about zoomies. Thank you. And you know, because you work with animals, Ruth. I was like, what is going on with my cat? He's just running around and jumping on the table and jumping on the bed and jumping in the window. And I'm like, oh my God, maybe I gave him something like, weed for cats, like that catnip, and he's going crazy. And somebody said, oh, your cat has zoomies. One of my friends. And I'm like, what the heck is zoomies? But that's the stuff in which would get my attention, right? And so I have to start thinking about that for my own clients. What's going to get their attention for the stuff that I do? So, yeah.
Great. I love it. All right. I found the link. Thank you very much for your patience. So the link to join is in the chat. It's $141 for your first 3 months, $47 a month. And if you sign up by midnight tonight, I'm throwing in a free one-to-one pitch audit where we will work from beginning to end on your pitch and give you a couple of different on-ramps you can use. And I'd love to see you in the Words That Land studio. I guess the final question I have is, on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel about what we covered today? In terms
Feel
of
really
how
good.
it's going to help you, right? Like
Yeah,
that's
I feel
where
really
I was.
Yeah, I feel like it's a 10. It's going to help me because now it's putting me in the position, okay, what are your examples? What are the things? And it's kind of like, okay, this is your ideal client. What are the things your ideal client is sitting there saying that I need to say back to them? And the funny thing is, Susan, it's not like this is the first time I've heard this, but I feel like it's the first time it resonated that, yes, that's the thing I need to do is speak to my client and use the words in the situations that they'll identify with. So that
Yeah.
was really great.
Yeah. Oh, great. Stacy, what about you? And if it's not a 10, what could have made it a 10? That would be my follow-up to that.
No, definitely a 10. And I everything that Dr. Love just said is exactly the same things. Like, I'm sure I've heard this before, but today it landed. And it was
Yeah.
the presentation and working it through the practical of this is what it looks like.
Right. Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. Ruth, what about you?
Oh, definitely a 10.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well,
Yeah.
great. Yay.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. You're right. A lot of what is out there is not new information. You've heard it before, right? Like we've all heard, yes, you need to speak, you need to use your client's words, to speak, to talk about what you do. It's hard to do it, right? That's the thing. And you think, oh my gosh, I'm going to try. And then it doesn't, like, sometimes you're like, oh, wait, that doesn't really sound right. Or it sounds too long, or it's not what everyone else's pitch sounds like. So therefore, maybe they're doing it better. I'll do it their way, right? And so that's really the value of getting some feedback and getting practice. Just practice doing it, right? Because that's the other piece to it as well. Sometimes you just need the space to practice the thing so that you can actually get good at it. So.
Well, I don't know if I've necessarily heard it before, but we see it all the time. I mean, if there's a commercial on TV, Coke doesn't tell me how they make Coke. They tell me I'm going to be sitting on the beach, drinking a Coke or, whatever. I mean, I don't drink Coke, but I'm just saying every commercial we watch, they don't tell us how they do what they do.
Yeah, it's you're right though. It's really a lesson learned from some of the big brands, right? Nike does not tell you how they make the sneakers.
No.
Nike does not actually even tell you you're going to break world records, right? Their point is you're going to live your best life wearing Nike shoes. Who doesn't want to live their best life, right? How am I going to get the Nike shoes, right? So I think that it's definitely a lesson we can learn because we tend to overshare. I don't mean in a bad way. We tend to want to give so much information and make sure people really understand. And the reality is our brains don't actually need all that information. And not only do we not need it, it sends us into the, okay, enough for me mode, which is never where you want people to be.
Yeah,
right?
and by oversharing, don't we kind of look desperate?
Well, that's a possibility too. But there have been times I can't, I'll be honest, I can't think of who the person was. It was definitely in We Meet. She started off, I was listening for, 10 seconds. And I'm like, yeah, I'm out. I'm telling you, 90 seconds later, I was still listening. She was still talking. I was no longer listening. And I think she started off fine, but then she kind of like meandered into the weeds, and all of a sudden she's talking about like whatever. Stacey, you've got to go. Thank you for
Yes,
joining me
thank you
today.
so much.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
I'm going to send out a replay later. So,
Okay, great. Thank you.
but yeah,
Bye,
Love when you-
Stacey.
but yeah, that's what happens, right? And we don't realize it. We just don't realize that that's what the information dump. We have no idea that's what's happening. And that's why it's so important to kind of like pare it back. I would love it if you guys feel inclined to just, shoot me a messenger of Facebook or in school. If you're in the We Meet School group, let me know how your pitches go on Wednesday, tomorrow.
Okay,
if
is
you're in
Dr.
We Meet.
Love in We Meet Wednesday?
I am.
Yes.
Cool.
I will be there.
Yeah. All right. Thank you guys.
Thank you
Have a
so
great
much.
day.
Thank you.
All right.
right, you
Have a
too.
good one. Bye,
All right.
guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.